hard. I was listening to the guy in England, that video I posted from Tin House Studios, and that's what he was just talking about, how focus doesn't matter, at this level, and all these other things don't matter. It's all about getting someone's attention, having something that is original, those qualities that are so hard and that we all strive for.
It's weird that
focus doesn't matter.
It's weird that like when Chase Jarvis was getting really big, like a decade ago, one of the reasons why he got so much attention was he did this thing with ninjas where he did a photo shoot with these guys dressed up like ninjas, and they were bouncing off of his walls, and he had a smoke machine and he had lights going off, and he was capturing these images of the people as they were coming off the wall. So they were in midair and they were doing all kinds of like ninja-y kind of poses and stuff. And that shoot, he put he was big into the behind the scenes videos and stuff. So he made a whole production of the behind the scenes and he put that video up online, and that got him a bunch of really, really large corporate clients, like big stuff. And he was, and it's weird that it's the personal crap that the clients pay attention to, and then they hire you, and then they want like the milquetoast headshots or the environmental sessions for their website and all kind of stuff. So it's weird. It's weird that, like the stuff you do on your own, and I guess it's just they want to see that, you've got something in between your ears and that you can creatively come up with things on your own rather than, I don't know, like maybe they associate that with, if you can do that, you're going to be able to problem solve on our job no matter what.
Even if it's a simple job. I had a client like that
Yeah.
I want to say she liked the fact that I could make, as an analogy, gourmet soup, but she bought vanilla ice cream. She purchased.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, but I like to know that you can do that.
Yeah.
But she still bought like the straight shot. So go figure.
Yeah. So yeah. So I mean, what he was saying was, it sounded pretty right on the ball. And then it's just a matter of where's the level you want to get at? Like I've assisted on really big jobs where they're like multi-day things, and I'm like a third assistant, and basically I just have to carry light stands around. But there's just so much going on that sort of falls on the responsibility of the photographer. And even though he's sort of farmed out these jobs to other people, it's just a big production. Like that's just like, I wet my pants every time I think about things like that. Cause it's like, I'm in the middle, like my whole thing is I'm trying to find this level where I'm comfortable. Like I'm good with multi-day shoots that are for one client where it's just me and an assistant. And if we can get a creative director from like an advertising company or something, that's cool, because then the client looks to them and they're making the creative decisions. And I like to bring them in only because they can get the client to sign off on stuff. Like I've had jobs where it's been just me and I'm like, okay, I need you to okay this stuff that we've got it. And then, months later, they're like, well, we're not happy with the things. And it's like, well, you guys signed off on that stuff. But I like it when a creative director's there, because they can get right in their faces and they'll be like, look, you're paying us for X, X, and X and X. Either it's this or we'll redo it right now. So you can kind of get them to handle all of that finessing and stuff like that. And then it's just like, I'm just going to go shoot. Like, let me shoot. Let me do my thing. You control these people that are being difficult.
I think having the creative director there, like the hospice shoots that I've been doing, has been great, because she's with the design agency. And so she knows what her brochures, her advertising, the magazine promos, like she can see in her head how she's going to design all this stuff. So she has a way of knowing when I show her the photo, like, no, you need to be further out. This crop is going to be really tall and narrow. She can see those things, which I have no idea what she's going to do. So I love having her there to approve. And then, yeah, she's approving it. And so then if I like it and she likes it, then the client's like, okay, well, I trust both of you guys. So yeah, I'm just going to go with that. And it makes it a lot easier.
And the angels sing.
Exactly.
Right. And everybody is happy. And yeah, it's nice when somebody else is sort of calling shots. And it's also nice when you have the creative director there, because they know exactly what the layout's going to look like. So it's like they come in and they're like, okay, the banner images are X by X proportion. And if it's like a table shot, we can grid that out on a table. And like everything is just customized exactly to what they want. So that's kind of nice. So yeah, it's at some point you get in that thing like, okay, like where do I want to be? Like, where's my glass ceiling? Like I've seen those big jobs, and they terrify me. And I know I would just lose control. And so I need to sort of bring it down. It's like, okay, like I'm comfortable in this range where it's just larger gigs, but it's not super giant big where we have to, like, 3 months out, we got to start locking stuff in, and we've got to, ship all kinds of equipment, and we have to do multi-day setups, and we have to do 3 days of testing for 45 seconds of shooting. And like all that stuff is just like, oh, it's exhausting.
Well,
That's
if
the
you
one
get
where you
of
get the
those-
production person, the production manager to
Right, yeah.
manage all that.
To handle all of
To,
that. Yeah.
No, I'm with you, Sid. I think I'm comfortable with an art director, a makeup artist, a hairstylist, an assistant, some direction, some planning ahead of time.
Yep.
But that you can kind of like flow with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your hair looks incredible today.
Hey, thank you.
I'm
I
just
did
so
it
jealous.
I did it just for you.
Hey! I'm slowly getting there. It's mine when I don't
Don't
like.
put any product in it. Turn your head over and blow dry it. You'll be
Mhm.
good.
You'd have to fly to France and take some pictures of
It's
her.
getting there. I haven't had long hair in 20 years. And
No, tonight is we
Time
had today's First Friday, and we had an artist opening. Someone had he does glass, and he works with a guy that does gold leaf, so he was having his opening. And so we were there. Sophie and I were both there, and there was this woman. She was getting hit on by this drunk guy. She was stunning. She was just beautiful. And Stephanie, you would understand, in the stranger assignment. And I'm looking at Sophie. I'm like, she's just gorgeous. Let me go up and ask her if she wants her photograph taken. And so I went up to her, and I knew she was an older woman, and I knew that from the get-go. But there was just something up. She was just magically glowing. And she goes, well, you have to do it now or never. I live like far away. I just came here for the vernissage. I'm like, okay. So I dragged her back to my studio, which was like walking distance.
Nice.
And I did her photograph. And then as we were talking, she's like a dancer, and I love dance. She was 78 years old.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Oh my gosh.
78, and there was a guy that he must have been in his late 30s, early 40s, hitting on her, and her husband was there, and there were all these men trying to keep him away because he was really being obnoxious. He was drunk, but he was being obnoxious. But she was gorgeous. 78. I'm like, you're my hero. Like,
Yeah,
I wanna be
goals
like,
right there.
So when are we going to see the pictures?
I just downloaded them. Well, it's on my other computer. I'll post one.
All right, no rush.
And
Next week.
I'll let you guys know when I get it. But I just downloaded her, and I'm like, holy crap! I mean, and she was so sweet. She was Swedish of all things.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so yeah, I'm looking at her now. She's just like amazing. Okay, you guys talk your thing. I'll find one. Talk amongst yourselves.
All right. So does anybody have an image that they want to show as something that's really hard. It's a really difficult thing to try to.
It is.
It is. Who wants to go first?
Oh, I got it sitting here, so what the hell?
Okay, go.
But I don't really have anything indicative of my style yet because it's still up here,
It's still new.
and I've got to get people in front of the camera to actually bring it out. But
Okay.
I mean, lighting wise, this would fit.
Oh yeah.
Lighting and what do you call it? Process wise, I'm fully immersed in the wet plate.
Good.
I'm not giving up on platinum printing. Basically, I'm trying to get a hold of glass right now so I can do the negatives, and I'm going to print from the wet plate. So we're going to be completely 150-year-old analog.
That's awesome. What have been the difficulties so far that you've been running into with it?
Not as much as you'd think, but I think the funny thing is I think that's just because of my personality, and I spent hours reading and watching videos and rewatching videos and so on and so forth. So by the time I got the chemicals in hand, there was really no hiccups. I knew what to do with everything. And even flowing the plates, that's supposedly the most difficult thing for most people when they're new.
Mm-hmm.
I'd watched and read enough to realize that, the biggest issue is most people don't put enough coating on the plate. They're afraid to put too much. So I just said, screw it. Dump the hell out of it, I got half of it on my arm, half of it falling off the side. I didn't care, so I haven't had a problem there. Probably the most difficult thing I think might be developing, because the developers are fairly hot. You know, when you're developing film, you're 5 minutes to 15 minutes to even an hour if you're doing stand. With this stuff, you're anywhere from 5 seconds to 20 seconds.
Yep. And
the difference in a couple seconds can be, over development, under development. And with wet plate, because exposure times are really kind of a guess on a lot of stuff. I mean, you'll get your own, if you're making notes, well, my EV value was this, and I shot it at this, so you can come up with a what do you call it? I guess an exposure list, but there's still more or less a guess in a feel thing. And so the developer plays into that because, let's say you overexposed it, you hit it with the developer, and boom, your highlights come up immediately. You're like, holy shit, well, this was way overdeveloped. You want to start getting the water on it right away, because otherwise you're just going to have a mess. It's going to be ugly. And that's what I'm really trying to gauge and figure out is getting that balance, because it's not just exposure, it's exposure and development together. Unlike anything else. I mean, you can completely screw up exposure in film and know that you screwed it up and know how to fix it in post with, how long you develop and, so on and so forth. With wet plate, because I'm still at that guessing stage a lot of times, it's not nearly as precise, it's a lot of feel. So it's really, really interesting. And I think that's part of what's really just drawn me to it. I knew I would enjoy it. I didn't realize, this is it. It's just, wet plate is me.
So
it's
so that image you showed do you want to get into the more like the fine art aspect of?
Yes, absolutely.
So you're geared towards like people that want to collect your work.
Yeah.
And then
so, this one here, really, I like skulls. They're kind of cool, and this is an Alaskan lynx skull that, really it's about that big. So this is about a 4X zoom or whatever macro. My bellows were racked almost completely out. I had maybe 2 to 3 inches left. So you want to talk about guessing, I'm sitting there looking at the light, and I'm like, well, okay, out here it's bright sunlight. I know I could do that with a boop, boop, and there we go at f5 5.6. So I'm like, all right. So 5.6, I'm doing 8. So now we're going from a bump bump to, let's say, maybe a second. Plus I'm in the shade, so let's just say it's 3 stops darker. So we're up to 8 seconds, and I got 3 stops of bellows. So let's go to 24 seconds. You know what? Let's just do 32 seconds. So this one actually, this one I think was closer to almost 50 seconds because I lost track. I didn't hit the button. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, well, why is this showing 0? Shit, how long have I been going? So I hit the timer and I'm like, well, let's just say I've been going for 10 seconds maybe. I have no idea. So I went for another 24 seconds. I think this is actually closer to about 50 seconds because the one I shot at 32 seconds is a lot darker. So you can really see the difference. But again, like I said, it's just really wild ass guessing, you go guess, educated guess, more educated guessing, and then bellows. Oh shit. Well, so, but yeah, it's fun.
Is that reciprocity failure? Is that one that gets into that sort of stuff?
I haven't run into that. Okay. So I'm just completely ignoring reciprocity failure on it. Because your longest exposure, especially in the heat, is maybe a couple minutes before the collodion dries out. Yeah. So I'm trying to keep it under a minute, and so yeah, I haven't messed with reciprocity because this same shot on foam and pan would have been like 4 minutes long, and that's 100 ISO film, but foam and pan's reciprocity is so atrocious that, when you get into, let's say, a 3-second shot, it ends up being like 21 seconds or something, you get into 30 seconds and you're at 18 minutes, it's just absolutely ridiculous.
So at what moment did, like when that image in particular, when it came up, How do you know when you know, like, that's the direction I want to go in, or that's like some people, you know, like they photograph people, or some people like still lives, and some people like landscapes.
Well, the still lives I like to do simply because I can do them all the time. I
Mhm.
mean, my basement's unfinished, so I have a 900-foot studio, basically 900 square foot studio.
Nice.
You know, and about 100 square foot of it's usable because it's such a mess. So you know, there's that. But no, I like doing the still lives just because I have access to it at any time. But people are really what I want to shoot, and more. I guess more importantly, not people, but people doing stuff.
Mhm.
And depending on whether or not I can fit my dart box in my trunk, I might actually go shoot my buddy this afternoon. Because we're talking and stuff, and something I've never seen on wet plate is a welding photo.
Oh wow.
And doing a little research
wow.
into the UV light put off by, you know, TIG welding, MIG welding, arc welding, all those, they're very comparable to actually sunlight. They actually have that UV range of sunlight.
Huh.
So theoretically, I should be able to pull it off with 1 or 2 second exposures, I'm thinking. So we're gonna try some welding shots, and then just you know, general work shots. You know, I want to shoot guys working on cars, working on big trucks, you know, bikers, basically pieces of myself. I realize for me, art is pieces of me. And I originally was a mechanic, and then I was a truck driver. I've always been a biker and an asshole, but it's really kind of hard to pick out assholes. So, you know, but you know what I'm saying, you know, so these are things that people can look at and they can see and they go, oh, that's a mechanic, you know? So, I mean, once I kind of get I'm going to use Tom as my guinea pig, basically, you know, and he's fine with it. He don't care. Because he's a biker, a mechanic, you know, former truck driver, all that. So, I mean, his life experience really lines up with mine as well. So I'm going to use him as a guinea pig, but you know, and then once I can get setting up and tearing down the dart box and stuff from a trunk, I'm just going to drive around town and go up to mechanics and be like, can I shoot you?
Good.
You know, because why not? I mean, I love this. It's just, and I honestly don't give a crap if anybody ever buys a single one. I'm just having a ball. You know,
Yeah.
And I think that's what art is. Are you enjoying it? You know,
I think, you know, what brings you joy is, I think that's really important, to focus on the things that bring you joy.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Because everything will flow from there, and that energy, even though you can't touch it, I think that'll touch others. And
no, I 100% think you're right, Carmen. I mean, that's
I think that's awesome. If you're doing something that brings, you know, that's not so easy to find. It's not that easy to find.
I've been searching for my whole life, and I didn't realize it. I mean, I've had hobby after hobby after hobby after hobby. I mean, you name it, I've probably done it, except for water polo. You know, but anyhow, no, I mean, I've tried so many hobbies, it's ridiculous, and some of them I still really do enjoy, but they don't bring the level of joy that photography does. Photography in general, but you know, when you really narrow it down and you say, okay, what do you want to shoot and how do you want to shoot it today? It's absolutely wet plate, and I really, really want to do it on glass and print it on platinum. You know, I mean, so I want to take the platinum printing that I love and do it from the type of photography that I love, you know, so we're getting there, but I got to get the glass, and that's a lot harder than I thought it'd be.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. You're onto something.
I'm having fun.
Something. Yes, you're onto
Absolutely
something.
having fun. So yeah, I appreciate it, guys. That's why I was really kind of bugging about Sid, because I love these talks, not when I get a talk necessarily. I like hearing everybody's stories, you know.
Yeah.
And it's really fascinating to see, you know, like what Carmen's doing in France and running into people and just like, hey, can I shoot you? I mean, it reinvigorates me hearing what you guys are doing, really. So
I think that's true with all of us. You know, I really focus on who do I keep company with, and the naysayers and the negative people and the problem, the drama queens, go over there,
Get them out.
please.
Yeah.
Yep. Get them out of
I'll
there.
leave them on my friends list, but I just unfollow their posts.
Yeah.
I've done that with so many people.
So, no, look, share, go for the joy. That's my,
Yeah.
you know, I didn't figure that out till later, and I'm still figuring it out. So
Yeah.
that you guys that are younger and you're doing that, you know, that's.
Well, I'm still suffering through a regular job though, so you know, I mean, there's just not all fun and games.
Well, you know, there's the time will come. The
Yeah.
time will come.
Well,
the
you know what's
fact that-
funny though? Even that, finding this has helped with that, because I've become a lot more thankful, you know, grateful for the job that affords me the ability to do this.
Mhm.
Because, you know, if I was still driving a truck, you know, maybe making $40,000 to $50,000 a year, I might not be able to afford to do wet plate photography with a 8x10 zone 6 camera and so on and so forth, because I mean, all these things are very expensive. And thankfully I have a job that I can afford to do this, whether I'm paid for it or not. And that, so it's made the job actually a lot more enjoyable because of what it's given me the ability to do, you know? So you're right. I mean, just the joy alone helps with everything, you know?
I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I'm picking like real quick, which is not my forte.
Don't
I
rush
don't mean
it.
to. I'm listening.
We
and I
are
don't
in
mean
no
to be
way
like I'm.
meant to rush your process. That is not.
No, it's great. No, I need that. I need that because otherwise I take forever. I take forever.
Stephanie picked this topic, so she's got to have a photo.
Yeah,
Yep.
she's up next.
Okay,
All right,
all right.
Steph,
She's
go.
man.
Go do somebody.
Okay, I'll share. See. Host disabled,
Oh
participants.
no.
Oh, all you got to do, Sid, just
Yeah.
go to screen sharing and the little button next to screen sharing, click it, and then you can change the permission. So
I
everybody
just
can
got a
hear.
little thing telling me that this meeting is going to end in 10 minutes.
Oh,
I have to upgrade
that's okay.
now.
Oh, you have the free version.
No. What you do is create a new meeting and give us the new link and put it on, and then we'll start 40. The clock
Here.
starts again.
Okay.
I'll create one real quick because I have a paid version.
Okay. All right.
Ah,
We're going to hop
okay.
into Mike's. Sorry about that.
No,
Post
don't worry about it.
Post the link into the Facebook where he's got his link.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, we'll find it there.
Okay.
So whatever, we can keep talking while this one's still going.
Okay. Sorry. I don't know much about Zoom, so.
No, if Don's unavailable anytime, Sid, just let me know because I've got a paid version, so I can create it for you.
Oh, that's great.
I have to be in it in the beginning at minimum to be able to assign you host, but that's it. You know.
But you're going to be here, so don't like go there.
But I plan on being here anyhow. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
If you, Sid, can you do allow the screen sharing?
Oh,
'Cause
sorry.
8 minutes, I'll throw mine up because it won't
All
take
right. Let me find. All right. So screen share, multiple. Okay. Maybe. Did that work?
Yep, that worked.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So can you see that one?
Yes.
Yeah. So I when I was watching this video and for Carmen, it wasn't that he necessarily said that, you know, sharpness wasn't important. It was just at the level where we're trying to be, you know, we should have exposure down. We should know what the sharpness should be. Those are like all things that are a given, right?
Right.
So those are all expected. It's the things that are the creative that get your attention, or the emotion or the humor, all those other, you know, things that define you, you know, in your style. And so I think when I was thinking of that, I was looking back at what I wrote my mission kind of statement to be, which was that I love to show people the humanity in industry or in business, like showing the connection between the things that we look at as a huge, you know, industrial machine, but yet it's run by people and individuals. So I think, you know, this one to me, the reason why I it's so hard to pick one. But the reason why I picked this one is because, you know, it shows the industrial aspect, and it shows him at work, and he's enjoying, like, these people most of the time, 90% of the time, they love what they do. And so it just shows him happy. You know, he loves his job. He's out there, you know, making sure we have electricity. And it's very, to me, I think I've been changing all my stuff from commercial photographer more to like documentary photographer,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't want to just have these fake staged things. Even if they are kind of staged, I want them to look authentic. I want them to look real, like I'm
I'm
documenting
with you.
actual, you know, thing. So that's kind of why, you know, this one was very, to me, he was just genuinely happy, genuinely excited, and so it shows that aspect of it.
Good.
And then the other thing is that my colors are usually, you know, more saturated or contrasty or whatever, and this one's nice and bright and colorful. So it's hard to think of all the boxes and then go through and find one picture that like checks all these
Yeah.
Oh,
boxes.
that's very good. It's very good.
Yeah, so that's kind of that's the one that I pulled up.
Good.
Okay,
Good.
I
good.
Mike posted the Zoom meeting.
Yeah, I don't know if you could just click on that and it'll bounce you from this one to the next one.
I know. I'm
try it,
gonna
though.
open it up. I'm gonna try opening it up. And
Yeah.
oh, you're already in another meeting. Do you
No,
want
I'm not yet. I'm going to click on the link that I just posted. We'll see what happens.
Ah,
So
okay.
hopefully I should disappear from this and then be in the other one.
to?
Okay,
We'll see.
we'll meet you over there.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.